Hi, this is Bonnie Griner, and I wanted to talk a little bit about teaching our children to read. Whether you homeschool your children, you don't homeschool your children, I think it's important that kids love to learn, and part of learning is learning to read. And from my 8 children, I've gained some tips, so I'm going to share them with you. They are not politically correct in this world today. I have found with my children and with many other children that little boys love to read different kinds of books than little girls. And in our teeny tiny town, in our teeny tiny library, public library, when you walk in, if you make a left, that's the nonfiction, which is where you should go for boys. And if you make a right, that's the fiction, which is where you should go for girls. And you say, Bonnie, what are you talking about? Little boys generally, I know there's exceptions, don't want to hear about putting a bow on your little pet goose because it's cute and then you take a walk in the rain. They want to know how things work. They want to, and for those of you that are getting mad at me already, just hold on. Try it. Try it with your toddler and preschooler. I read books out loud to all 8 of my children, boys and girls mixed, but I carefully selected those books so that it would interest everybody. So I went to the library yesterday and I got out to what I consider books that my boys would have loved. And if you get a boy interested in the subject material, he's going to want to know what those words are. Like, Mom, what's that? What's that? What's that sound? What's this? And that's how I taught my kids to read. Here's one. This is pretty obvious, okay? So it's Mighty Dads, and every page talks about a different type of machine. You say, well, Bonnie, I want my boy to be, well-rounded, not just about machines, but how about just to teach them to read, okay? Here's another one. Does an owl wear eyeglasses? You say, well, that's sort of funny. No, boys love simple pages, simple words. This is just who wears eyeglasses and who doesn't and what's it for and how the eye works. It's fascinating. They want to know why a spider will eat its mate when they're done having kids. Okay, they want that kind of excitement. That's exciting for them. Why do bears sleep a lot? How do fish breathe? Here's another book. My Heart is Like a Zoo. My boys love this book. Every page is super colorful and it talks about animals bothered as a bull with a hornet in its hair. Can you see how exciting that could be? Not that girls wouldn't like it, but if you want boys to fall in love with reading, it needs to be subject material that is fun for them. Here's one that might scare you. What happens when fire burns? They want to know the ins and outs of things, how to make things work. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't find books like this. Bear and Duck, that is this cute little story about a bear and a duck that love each other and they're best friends, and it's all the antics of being best friends. It's not that you can't do that, but all I was reading to my first 2 or 3 sons was like Little House on the Prairie and books that I liked because I'm a girl, until I understood that they want fun stuff. Teach them, how does something break apart? How does something come together? How do you manage dirt? Anyway, just a tip for reading. It's important. I wanted my kids to be able to read the Bible. I wanted them to understand what they read. And I found by introducing, especially my little boys, to books that were exciting. So when we read about animals in the zoo, they wanted to know more. Like one of my sons was so into frogs and toads. Like, well, how do they handle, what are they like in the water, Mom? Do they swim? How does that work? How do they breathe? That's the excitement that you want. So hopefully that tip will help you when you go to the library. I know it's not something moms that we might choose to read, but a boy will become fascinated with things like that. All right, hope that helps.